showing me two screens and
What's good, party people? This is According to the Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a mixed martial artist. She's currently signed to the PFL, and come June 10th, she will be fighting none other than Olympic medalist and multiple-time world champion Clarissa Shields. She's the one and only Brittney Elkin. Brittney, what's going on?
Hi. Hi, sorry. No, I'm not doing a selfie. Sorry. I'm in a park right now. So hello guys. How are you?
No, man, it's all cool. It's all cool. You,
This camera won't work. I'm sorry. It won't line up on this.
If you want to push it the other way, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, no, you sent the screenshot of like literally like I'm like 11 minutes away, and I was just like, okay, this is
Yeah,
gonna.
well, it's like I'm on my phone right now and it's not allowing me to line up the view, so I hope you guys can see everything okay. But I planned a little bit. There's traffic over on the East Coast is ridiculous, so I wasn't like totally ready for 3 hours of traffic today. Sorry about that.
Oh, it happens. It happens. And Mercury's over on Twitch says hi.
Hey, what's up?
And a good friend of both of us, Don McGuire of the Fighter's Voice, says
Don's awesome. I've known Don a long time. I'm going to talk to him later in next week.
yes, and no, 100%. And Jokic says geeking out over this interview, 100%, and that's got to be cool. More for Brittney, more so than me. So
I'm glad. I'm glad.
And yeah, and Mercury says we can see you, 100%. So I mean, Brittney, holy crap, man! It's kind of fun because you know kind of had a sabbatical away from MMA, and then PFL kind of drew you back, and well, $1 million would do that to a person, right?
Well, I'm not actually in the I'm not actually in the tournament. But yeah, a couple of things will reel you back in. You get itchy knuckles and you got to come back for a couple of certain fights.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's fun. But I guess let's start from the beginning. Like, how did you get involved in combat sports and such?
So I'm country. I'm from Gillette, Wyoming, and I just I got married young and divorced young, and after my divorce, I just got in like CrossFit shape. That's what was popular at the time, and I was working at a local Gillette, Wyoming bar, and the local fight circuit in there, or the fight cage promotion, was called Ring Wars, and they paid Spencer Fisher to come be like a guest at the, like the cool guy at the thing. And I was bartending, and the owner of the promotion and Spencer were like, you have the look and you should fight in Gillette, Wyoming. And yeah, I was fighting in Spearfish, South Dakota, like 3 months later.
And it's as a bartender to get like, oh, you look like a fighter. What was your response to that? Because like,
I mean, I kind of did at the time. I was jacked, and I was young, and just I was kind of naive. So anything I was like, yeah, I am a fighter, and I didn't really conceptually grab all what that meant, But it did lead me down this amazing, amazing journey that I am on now, and who knew that would do that, So
no, 100%. And it's fun because you say like 3 minutes later you take a fight, like you had the promoter and Spencer Fisher kind of really get in, right? But what was that training like? Because you had already been doing CrossFit, but
so
MMA is different.
Can you re-ask that one more time, because your words kind of came unclear over the intercom thing?
No, so basically you were doing CrossFit and then you transitioned to MMA. What was that?
Oh my God. I trained for 3 months before my first amateur fight in Gillette, Wyoming. At that time, Wyoming didn't have like a commission. I don't even think that South Dakota did. And so, or maybe South Dakota did, but I was fighting in the local area, and Wyoming didn't have a commission, so like I didn't even know what I was doing. There was no transition. It was instead of that just getting punched and running more and sweating and cutting weight. I didn't understand cutting weight back then, and I cut to 145. I'm 5'11", and I used to walk about like 180. So almost all my fights are at 145 and like a 40-pound cut. When Ray called me for Clarissa, it's like I was at 170, so it was easier to take. But back then, I didn't even understand conceptually what a weight cut was.
So I guess how did you do it? I mean, you're literally like 40 pounds heavier.
I really actually looking back, I don't know. I never missed weight in MMA. I have missed weight in jiu-jitsu. Just because I've competed a lot more, I assume, and I grew up kind of in that sport. But I never missed weight. I don't know really how the fuck I did it. I don't know. I always cut like 45 pounds. I used to eat a strict diet of nothing but boiled chicken and green vegetables and like celery, and I would like chew up food and spit it in the trash at night and like try to hide that, you know what I mean? So like you get kind of to a weird place in a fight camp that I think only people that are doing that with you or alongside you really understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And to be a conditioned athlete, it takes a special type of discipline. It's funny because I had just heard a story of like the Ultimate Warrior of WWF fame. He would have this ritual where he would like there would be cookies and donuts and whatever, and he would just sniff them and then punch it and throw it in the trash. He was different than chewing it out and chewing it out and spitting, but I mean, I guess.
Some of that came through and some of them didn't. It's my fault because I'm in the park. But you were talking about like him eating donuts and throwing them. Is that what I caught?
Yeah, you could smell it, crush it, and then throw it in the trash.
I used to, I mean, I'm not even making this up. This is like one of my like super secret naughty things. When I was cutting to 45, I would go to like Perkins or somewhere that you could buy a cheap pie, like a $14 pie or something. And I would literally like shove my mouth completely filled with pie and then like just sit over a trash and just let it fall out and then like shove my mouth with pie. I mean, like, we all have, food is a drug in a way, and like that's when you in the moments of becoming a professional, like back then when you have no idea like how that is also not good or whatever, you know what I mean? But when you're talking about the transition back then and how I was learning to address these things, yeah, those were my secrets. Those were my things the coaches didn't see, so.
That's great. And Don Gar says that's why you're his favorite Big Bird. So.
Oh, well, I was Big Bird throughout my whole career. Big Bird retired. I'm going in this fight as Queen Bee. So, that's my jiu-jitsu name is Queen Bee, and I'm going to take that over into this fight because I feel like I all the way identified it with the retired fighter. So Big Bird is done, going in as Queen Bee.
Yeah, I'll never forget. Hashtag never forget. Now, obviously, you kind of cut your teeth in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but you took a fight first. It almost puts some jiu-jitsu practitioners will do competitions in jiu-jitsu and then fight maybe later. You kind of went the opposite end. So how did you find jiu-jitsu through it?
No, I didn't. I actually, so yeah, I guess I did. I fought MMA. I fought MMA quite a few times, like 5 or 6 times before moving to Colorado as an amateur. And then I can't remember because it's actually all unsanctioned. They became sanctioned after I started fighting in Denver. So you won't see a lot of my amateur fights like on record back then. I think a kid actually passed away after a fight.
Hey guys, this is According to Woods, and we are live with Brittney Elkin, who will be fighting on June 10th against multiple-time gold medalist in boxing, as well as a multiple-time world champion in boxing, Clarissa Shields. She's kind of telling us about her journey. We lost her for just a bit, but if you haven't already done so, I warmly encourage you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. That'd be great. And Missy Estrada says, "Go B, go B," and she's back. So we'll bring her in so she can see that comment. Just saying. So, or maybe not. Don't know. Technology's weird. Technology's weird. So yeah, but Missy, that comment will stay up so Brittney can see it and
Oh yeah,
see it. She shall.
yeah. Sorry about that.
There you go.
I don't know. I accidentally my finger hit a button and I backed all the way out. So, but
It happened.
yeah, no, like I came to Denver. And your question, I got distracted because I wanted to come back into the screen, but we were talking about
No,
my amateur going into Denver, and then how I went back into jiu-jitsu. So I started like competing because I fell in love with the gi, so I started competing coincidentally in like professionally jiu-jitsu, and then like I was taking a ton of fight to win matches, and some of my peaking, what would be your peaking Bellator moment. Mine was Bellator, and then PFL. I was still doing fight to win matches, and actually a lot of just regular tournaments. I'm 19-9 on the fight to win stage, and that's without my subversive tournaments, which fight to win hosts. So pro grappling, I did pretty well, and then I think that I did myself a disservice, doing both. You got to pick something at a point. You know what I mean? And with both of those, I was doing so well, I thought I could do it all. I think we get blindsided and we think that because we're good at one thing, we're good at everything and can just keep on going through it. It's kind of second nature for me to compete in grappling now. But I just took on more than I could chew, I think, at the end of my fight career with doing them both. And now that I'm honed in a little and I was getting ready to be like an ADCC trials going to there. And so like I just kind of disconnected with training for all those things this time and solely focused since I took this fight on MMA. So we'll hopefully have a better outcome. But
yeah, 100%. Set phasers to stun. And
yeah.
Missy Estrada says, "Go B,
Yeah,
go
she's
B."
awesome. She's one of the queen bee givers, the name givers. So she's been one of my friends for a very long time.
That's amazing. And that's, the rest of the world will kind of look in and not be involved in that and go like, it's so brutal. And yes, it is. But the camaraderie that happens, within the community, it's awesome.
It's also, I said it's so brutal, but then you cut out.
I said the community in combat sports is awesome.
Oh my God. The community in combat sports is like all forgiving and taking care of each other. And another thing that they do is they recognize bullies and they recognize, distasteful people. And they look out for each other. Like you wouldn't believe, combat sports has brought me so close to like professional, and growing in my profession, growing in this, like people that fight have all given me an outreach. It's just unbelievable. I moved out to the East Coast months ago, and I'm at some of the top gyms in the area, just like welcoming me in and giving me everything that they wish, that they could have in their when they got this option. So I'm just grateful, and combat sports is number one. So I have a little bad connection because I'm in a park and I'm trying to keep out from my dog from attacking other dogs while on this interview. So I apologize. I didn't hear the end of that.
You're fine. Now, in terms of, you had taken a bit of a step out from MMA, right? So what prompted that? You said you were doing a lot of different things with jiu-jitsu and MMA, but what prompted you to kind of step away from MMA?
Well, so I lost to Kayla Harrison, which is defeating enough. It's kind of, Kayla Harrison is an amazing athlete. And, she's, there's athletes like her that want me to be better because I want to one day be as good as her or like equal, and which is a long way away. She's done awesome this year, but I fought against her. And I think anybody that's ever fought can relate to depression after a loss. Like MMA depression is a lot different than like a grappling loss or like a smoker loss. These are, where you're testing your peak performance and training for 15 minutes for 15 years, so it's like the throw up the kind of down the shower drain after a loss, losing to Kayla. And then Ray said, you know, hey Britt, you were awesome. We wanna keep you in PFL right after Kayla, and he said, why don't you stop? My dog is barking at another dog, a little poodle. So Ray told me himself, he's like, Britt, I would like to, you know, put you in that $1 million tournament last season. You know, if you could do a tune-up fight real quick before you come in, and then we would, you know, just love to bring you back on. So I did one, and I fought Bobby Joe Dazzle, who she was on the tournament, the last season tournament too. And that fight is actually kind of like a hidden fight because they spell both of our names wrong in the search. But you can see in the first, it's online, but you can see in the first 30 seconds of that fight, she breaks my arm with a kick, and it broke in 3 places, my ulna, and I fought to like minute 4 of the round. And yeah, it was just an incredible thing to happen within months of losing to Kayla. I feel like I lost to Kayla in June. My memory is kind of, you know, a lot of things happened in between there. And then I lost to Bobby in January, and I had my 3rd arm break of my career on the same arm. And this time it was in 3 places, kind of like a wrapped arm. So I just didn't have it in me to do it anymore. And I was like, okay, that's it. Hold on just a second. I gotta readjust her. And I was like, okay, that's it. You know, MMA, I've broken my orbital. Is when I talk, you can see I'm missing several teeth. I took a palate break inside of my mouth from a knee to the face. You know, my arm had been broken 3 times, and I've broken my groin area, you know, alongside of my knees and other things in a professional fighting. So I just, you know, when that arm broke, that was my step away, you know. And then Ray Sefo called, and I gave me an incredible offer to be a champion. And I've worked my whole life, and I'm like, just, you know, kind of stylistically completely separate than Clarissa. So I thought it was just time to come in back, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the story of it, or like where I went with it all.
No, I love it. I love it. And now, you know, you spoke about the MMA depression, which a lot of people can relate to, especially after the hellacious last year that we have. Some of it kind of spilling over to this year, right? But you know, Ray calling you know, Sugar Ray Sefo, you know, combat sports great in his own right, and PFL president. That had to kind of help the, you know, the morale a bit, to like, we see you, we see all of the struggles, you know.
Well, when he called me the first time, like I hadn't totally, like I had my cast on my arm, and I hadn't totally given it up. Like I kind of was on that swallowing, you know, if I was giving it up or not. So when he called the first time, it was like, I'm so cool. You know, I'm not cool isn't the right word, but you know what I mean? Like it gave you like exactly what you said, like we're watching you, seeing you. But this last time when he called me, it was on April Fool's Day, you know, and I'd been retired for a year and a half or 2 years or 2.5 years. I can't even tell you. I've been retired, you know. I was working the CFFC door for the event where the kid lost his finger. So that kid just lost his finger. And then April Fool's Day, not even making it up, like we were all dealing with this kid losing his finger. They announced over the PA, if you see the finger, they hadn't even found out it was in his glove yet. I was there, and then Ray calls up on my phone, and I'm supposed to be, you know, handling the will call at this door. And I was trying to be on the phone with Ray, and he told me what he offered me. And like I heard already, I mean, I follow the Instagram account. I saw Clarissa got signed, you know, months ago. Of course, it runs across your head. Oh, if I was still fighting. So like all these things kind of just flashed in front of my eyes. And then my problem was still dealing. And Ray and me were like, hey, let's talk tomorrow. And we hung up the phone. And before I even dealt with like the kid with the finger gone, he was gone. I don't deal with that directly. But before I dealt with like anything that was going on, I called Ray immediately back, and I was like, was this a fucking joke? Is this a joke? It's April Fool's. And he laughed, and he was like, no, it's not a fucking joke. We'll talk tomorrow. And we did. We talked tomorrow. And then we didn't have a contract for about 13 days. And then on April 13th, everything was signed. And so it was like a big 13 days of emotional roller coaster of getting back to him. So.
Wow, I mean, that's crazy. Now Jamal Harris says, wow, you're a savage. It's a rough sport, but we love it, right? And,
yeah, no, totally.
Extreme Couture MMA, and Ray is their OG.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, Ray's awesome. He's always been so good to me. On, like I said, like it feels good, like you said. I mean, it feels good when the owner calls you directly. I mean, how kind and awesome to do that. So, it took all those stars aligned, and I was like, how often in life do stars align like this? So I'm ready to be the best I am at what I do, versus a two-time Olympic gold champion spiker or striker. So um, I want I want to be worth watching that day.
Damn right. Speaking of days, right? We can't gloss over something because I got into combat sports via pro wrestling. If it wasn't Dan Severn coming on to WWF in like the mid to late 90s, I don't know if we'd be doing MMA, right? So TFMC was actually held in Philadelphia at the 2300 arena,
Yep.
but
Yep.
old ECW arena, and having none other than CM Punk commentating, and it got into the city.
Yeah.
Far from the first time that happened at that arena. But talk to us about that, because I've talked about it with people, but never with anyone that was actually there.
Okay.
To that night.
Well, okay, so first of all, I work for that arena. I work for Roger, the owner of that arena, doing ops managing. So I do floors for their arena, and I'll do will call sometimes, and I get to do a lot of cool things. So it's super awesome already, right? So at this moment of my life, I was retired, and we just got our COVID doors opens. We had a back-to-back CFFC show. I think they did a Thursday and Friday night, if I remember, or a Friday and Saturday. And April Fool's was the first day, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because the EMTs on staff were a little bit larger people, but they're awesome, and they were running so fast and trying to solve this problem, and all this chaos happened. And like at a point of these things, there's so many people working to solve the problem. When you get in there, you ruin it. Like you got to just keep like everybody else out of the problem, But they hadn't figured out that the finger was in the glove, right? And I didn't hear directly them like announce over the PA, "We're missing the finger." But everybody on staff said they're like, "If anybody sees a finger," it was pretty insane. You know what I mean? Like, but in those moments, like right in that moment when that was happening, is when Ray called me. So my attention was like, my phone lit up and it said Ray Steffo, and I was like, "Oh shit." And I answered it. And I'm very aware of April Fool's Day because my little sister's a monster about it. Like she gets me, but she'll full sell. She's a full sell. She's fearless, and she gets me every year. So like I'm knowing going in that this is April Fool's Day. And I mean, I work at a fight venue. I work for a fight promoter on tour on the weekends. Seth Daniels is a fight promoter, so I work heavy in the fight circuit. I was pretty sure it was a joke. I was pretty sure it was a joke. I was like, "Are you sure?" And like, but that night with the door, the fighter was, I guess, completely like composed for what he went through. How crazy to lose a fingerprint. They said that it possibly got dislocated in a point of the fight, and he may have gripped the cage and it ripped off. And how insane that it went inside the glove. I saw all the video of it. Wow. I was, and like that day, my mom also follows this. My mom's a little Norwegian woman that's terrified of fighting, and she pays attention to this stuff because of me. And she goes, "Brittney, did you know that happened? And you took another fight?" And like, she's just so mad at me, you know. So it was an interesting evening to be in there,
That's so nuts. That is so nuts. And it's funny because even like CM Punk, I know you were in the arena, you couldn't see it, but I was watching it on UFC Fight Back, and CM Punk introduced the guy that won, right? And clearly you could see like he was grabbing the inside of his glove and what have you, and that's probably where the first dislocation happened, and that clear off, right? And CM Punk, right, took him to task. It was like, like you might need. I don't remember if you grabbing his glove or whatever. It's like, oh, we need to get medical attention for you. Because you don't remember that. Like there might be some kind of brain injury or what have you.
Yeah, it was I think like shock is a powerful thing, you know, like um my last fight when my arm broke, I definitely have memorable moments talking to myself that my arm was broken and not feeling pain yet. So you know, shock is a powerful thing, and that man didn't make a peep, and you wouldn't know that his finger was ripped off of his body, and he was wheeled out. I think the EMTs made more noise, like of you know, but the EMTs are awesome here in Philly. Like I've worked with them; they're actually some of my personal friends. They're wonderful. They responded so fast. Everybody just wanted him taken care of, you know, and
Yeah.
everybody like loves the fighters so much. You know, even all fans just really want them healthy, and even if they're beating their fucking shit out of each other. So that was an intense night. It was funny, even though all that happened. Like I was like, dude, did you guys hear that Ray Sefo just called me? Like I don't know if you heard that, but I kept on bringing it up, and like the whole staff was like, yeah, whatever, Brittany. I don't fucking care, like you know, because the fucking Philly crowd started screaming, fist him, fist him, fist him, like the little crowd that we had because of Corona. You know, it's not your traditional crowd was screaming
Mhm.
fist was pretty funny. I mean, I was like, what the fuck, people, you know? So it was
Yeah.
a fun.
Of all the chants to be, echoed through the pantheon of that arena's history, the "you fucked up," anything you put to a clap, "you fucked up." Uh, there's some not so it doesn't age well when you go into like the female kind of depictions of the old ECW arena. So system is like kind of mine from what has I mean those walls we talked
What, what was the last part? I just got the end of the last part. I heard all the other stuff, but you said what was the end
about.
that you said?
I was just saying like that's probably the most mild thing that has ever been echoed in
Oh
that.
yeah, so again, like we were sharing stories at the end of the night with the staff, and that arena. Some of the staff has been there for 30 years. Like it's insane to see these, and their stories are amazing. They said that in the old days when the EWC was in there,
ECW.
ECW. Sorry, I'm like losing myself in there. When they were talking to me the other night, they said that they would steal the chairs, and they would be walking out at night with the metal chairs just for a souvenir that people would be stealing the chairs, like the metal chairs, you know, of all things. And they have some other stories that were really hilarious to hear. That I will not share. I'll let you come to the green room and share. But yeah, there's been some good memories made in there. They have all the old banners, and the bathroom in the men's room is still painted the same as it was back then. So they reserved a lot of the history of the arena. It's a really neat place to be.
Ah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And Jamal Harris wants to know definitively, is she fighting Clarissa? Which
Yeah,
you can answer.
yes, I am fighting Clarissa. Yes.
That's great. Oh, he's so kind. He says that mad respect to Adam Woods. He does so much for the fighters. These interviews are important. No, it's you guys. You guys allow me to do this with you. So thank you for
Yeah, no,
doing this.
thank you too. And also, Adam Woods put up with me being late, stuck in traffic. I thought I hit something, but I hit like a curb with my car. Like, dude, I'm such a space. So thank you for dealing with me. And my pit bull drug me to this park bench
Oh,
that
you're saying this
we had
because
the
you
interview.
didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this. You did, and that's why I'm gonna Mario Yamasaki you. Like this guy.
Thank you.
This guy. And Alex Gutierrez points out that April has been a crazy month with MMA injuries. Back.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I did see all those other fights just the other night. I've actually trained with Rose in Colorado, so I always watch her. Super fan. What a beautiful woman and beautiful spirit that woman is. And she, of course, brought Valentina when we were all training back in Denver years ago. So I got to watch her and I met her before. So I was, of course, paying attention. But the leg injuries, that nerve injury was just interesting and you know, wow, like the spirit of a fighter in that, and the break was just traumatic, and so what a wild night for fights, you know. Seeing on the other
Yeah.
end of injury, I just hope that everybody's heart is okay because their physical bodies will be, but make sure their heart is okay because fighting's a lot of passion, you know. So.
No, and it's weird, kind of like a 6 degrees of separation deal, because I think Uriah Hall himself, he kind of put it out there where the last person he fought was Anderson Silva, right? And Anderson Silva had his leg broken by Chris Weidman, and now he fights Chris Weidman, and Chris Weidman's leg, basically gets broken almost the same way as Anderson. So pretty
But how
cool.
many times has he thrown that kick? And you know, it's MMA is what one of my coaches used to say is MMA is a dirty whore and she does not love you. You get addicted to it and you keep wanting to get the same, blast of fun, but it is a dirty whore and it doesn't love you tomorrow, it doesn't love you today. And like I don't mean that like we don't love MMA. I just, it's unforgiving. And when you go in there, anything can happen. So it's always just like that's why you see those deep breaths before you go in the cage because anybody with experience knows that you might break your palate or your face or your leg, so puts a whole new
Well,
meaning and break a leg.
no, 100%. But here's a way you could get your wins back, right? Against that, you can kind of clean up the dirty whore that is MMA. Well, a little birdie told me that the parent company, the IMG, right? The parent company of the UFC, just went public, right? You can buy shares. So I just want to put out a challenge to all the fighters, like, hey, let's all group up, buy this shit out of it, and let's get better pay, and then stop, incentives and shit like that. It'd be cool. I'm just saying. I'm putting that out there. So
you know
White, what's
I mean, I'll support it. I support it. I did, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. Of course, you want MMA to be cleaned up a little bit and all that stuff. But I mean, we also love the grit that it is. I mean, anything that can happen is the reason why we watch. It's the gladiators of the fight world. So many diverse options. You're not just a striker, or that's what's really cool about me and Clarissa is she's such a purist. And I do not believe I can beat her with striking. I don't want to fool myself. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince myself that I'm some match striker, but I know what I am. I'm a grueling, wear you down wrestler. And I'm going to fight a circle with a straight line instead of trying to beat her at her own game. I'm going to play my game, and we'll see who plays better that night. And that's just how I'm going to take that. And that's why we watch. That's why we watch, because you could break a leg. You know what I mean?
beautiful chaos? It's a fucking beautiful chaos.
It really is.
I still don't know why I watch, but I watch. Like it's
because it's admirable and breathtaking to watch somebody stand in front. Like I think Justin Gaethje said it is just as good as Rose said it as anything. Is like it's admirable to watch somebody step up to fear of any kind. Like, and even if it's unsuccessful, it's still like, wow, because we in life come across quite a few pussies. You know what I mean? So like you watch because it's like. And it gives you that little thing like, dude, I'm gonna fucking stand up to Stacy at work tomorrow. Fuck that bitch. You know what I mean? And you say that kind of stuff when you see these people do this for themselves. So I know it does it for me. I know the reasons why I pay attention to combatants, and when I see like that shit, I watch it probably 1,000 times. And them all of our, it brings the whispers, the BJJ whispers in the world, and all the great minds and wizardry happens again, and we all do it again. I don't know, but. Yeah, I watched
absolutely. No, absolutely. And Jamal here says, "Wow, that's epic." With all due respect to her, to our world, Britt. This is
that's
our
how
time.
I feel. I'm like, all right, let's give a warm welcome, man. I mean, like, let's do this. Yeah, I'm ready. I feel like so I picked this fight up in my head and I looked at it all the way around, and I was like, even if I mean, you don't go in there not thinking that you're going to be, I don't go in there. I never have an easy fight. All my fights are hard. So I'm going in there planning to fight. And there's been a lot of times that my dog sees a baseball game, so she's chasing a ball. There's been a lot of times that I've watched my own self after a fight, and I was like, I could have held on a little longer. In this fight, I plan to hold on through it. I've been training vigorously. My spars are actually a lot better than I planned. You know what I mean? For being off, I had some great spars, and game planning to me has become like one of my new things. I've been doing that now, tactically game planning against ADCC champions or going up against trials. So like we're doing tactics and working on that for months. So, you know, I'm a different person. That's why I'm coming in as Queen Bee, because I just feel like Queen compared to the little, you know, MMA baby I was before.
No, queenship only, which, you know, Jamal brings up a kind of an amazing point, and we saw a glimmer of it with Ben Askren versus one of the Paul brothers, right? Where a lot of MMA fighters are like, we want Brittney to show fucking Clarissa what our world is. Like, have you gotten some of that support, you know, once the fight was announced that you would be the one stepping in there with Clarissa? Have you gotten kind of a stronger support from the MMA community?
You know what's insane is, yeah, I've gotten a huge support. I've gotten a lot of weird messages, which that's pretty common, but I got a lot of weird messages that she's obviously made a couple people mad. I don't usually feed those kind of things because other people's incentives or motives or other things don't really give me mine. I do read them though, because I'm a snot and a troll. But you know, yeah, I've been getting like an incredible amount of support. A lot of the women that are on the top, you know, 5 grappling circuit. I've been in the grappling circuit a long time. Have reached out to me. Bobby Joe reached out to me, and she's like, "Fuck yes, we're it." You know, me and her are still in communications. You know, there's a lot of people. I just had my old manager, Brianna Fasori, who's a MMA, you know, old fighter, and she's in boxing now. She just flew out to New York City and just did a week of camp with me. And then Amanda LeVay from Philadelphia. Like, I have some legit ass bitches coming up to help me, you know, and they're like, let's do this. Let's grind. And I hope to pull off that grit. And I hope to assert patience so that my game plan is the most important to me in that day. And like mental patience, you know what I mean by that? Like so I'm really practicing that and my spars and stuff to really like, I don't give a fuck. This is my game, and we're going to happen against different styles. And so yeah, it's been a funner time. This go around in MMA. I'm having a funner time.
No, 100%. Now, obviously, you know, you're one of the best grapplers, you know, on the BJJ circuit, right? Clarissa is, you know, one of the most elite female strikers that there has ever been, right? So, I mean, over her, would that prove to you? Because I know the depression was kind of, you know, a little bit rampant with you. Yeah, I mean, does that kind of prove to you that you're one of the best at what you do?
I think what it's going to prove to me is I think that when you get to this level, you have to look at a lot of other things than just who's the best. I mean, who's the best that's going to show up that day, or blah, 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 blah. But it's like, how do you beat the best? What is the breakdown of her footwork? We've been looking a lot at footwork. When does she rest, and when is she just not engaging? Let's talk about this. What is our game plan if she's resting? We can tell when she's resting and when she's not engaging. Let's watch some video. What does she do when she's not engaging and she wants to make a blast to win in this last 3 seconds of the round? Not engage for 2 minutes, engage for 30 seconds, do something big and blast. How do we make that better? So I think how I'm going to beat the best is with a strong mental game plan, because she is the best and I'm aware of it. And I don't plan on becoming the world champion boxer in 6 weeks. That's not my plan. My plan is to be the best at something else. And, you know, I hope that gets in her head as much as it is. Like, nobody wants to hit with salt and pepper. Nobody wants to lose more teeth. I do have some that need to come out, but I don't want them done in that way. You know what I mean? And so I'm really looking at this like, you know, I'm taking care of myself this time. I'm like breaking these things down, things that I ignored in my past that I overlooked and let a coach break down for me, and then just took coach's words. Those aren't the same. Like, I'm like watching her video. And then I'm thinking, an ankle pick. What? Or what? Like, that's a perfect setup for this. Or, oh, she does this naturally. What is this? You know what I mean? Let's make her do this. And so, like, I'm a lot more in this fight 6 weeks out than I was in any of my fights for the last 10 years, MMA statusly.
I love it. I love it. Now, do you ever think back, especially this kind of crazy ride that you've been on, and the time that you took away from the sport? What would have happened if you had worked at another bar, or if the promoters, never talked to you, to get into fighting? What would your life be like?
I think I know that I'm competitive. So I could be, the best candle saleswoman in Gillette, Wyoming if I never got into that. I don't know. I know that Gillette's a country competitive town. I might be good at four-wheel racing or horseshoes. I don't know. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying, like, anything could happen, but I know I would have been the best at it in some form. I don't know. Wyoming's a fun place, so I think it kind of gave me my spirit of, like, how I take these things on, like, my country girl spirit of the farm work's got to get done. Like, I don't know, that's kind of all stupid stuff because I didn't live on a farm in Wyoming, but it's just like the way you grow up is what I'm trying to say is really shaped me as a person in this. So I don't know what I would have been, but I know that my heart's in this, and my heart would have been whatever I was in. I do love fighting. When I was a little kid, I used to beg my mom to be in karate, so she wouldn't let me. And my dad say when pigs fly, and I would draw paper airplanes like pigs and throw them at them. So who knows if I would have went to something later. But yeah, I'm just really glad I did this because in reflection of my life, like when we've done some meditations this week and reflected to what got me here and why I think differently, I've had a great life. And I really accredit that to all the hard work I've put in for, like, these championship things I've been after. So, alongside of family and good people, but you know what I mean? Like, the goals I've set have really shaped these stories. And yeah, I wouldn't wish it any other way. I'm really glad I met Spencer that day and Matt the Wolf, and they pushed me down that path because I am a fighter. So.
Damn right you are. Damn right. And Don McGuire says you have grappling experience. It's an even playing field. And that's one thing that a lot of people, a lot of those filthy casuals don't take into account. Grappling experience is like fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, we all know that. Anybody that has that, and then you're going to have the other side of the fence sitting here arguing me like Brittney has no hands and she's going to get CTE. I mean, like, and that's, whatever that is. You know what I mean? We can argue this all day. In my experience, I am undoubtedly experienced in grappling, and I am not going to set that aside like it's something to take for granted because I'm going to use every bit of my experience. I've earned my ears. I'm going to try to show her, that, this is as hard to learn, if not harder than boxing. So I just hope it goes in my favor, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make a good fight for me. So
no, I love it. No, I absolutely love it. Now, in this kind of new season of your career, right? What have you learned? This new season of your career, like, what have you learned most about yourself that you didn't know the first time you hung it up?
Like, I sat here and oh man, what do I know most about myself? Oh, I'm covering. Oh fuck, I don't know that. That is like, I probably have a better answer 30 minutes from now. But what do I know most about myself? So I know I'm a tough ass bitch. I know I face things head on. I'm committed. My heart is big, but if you fuck with it, or you fuck with. This isn't a fuck with me fight. This is a combative sport fight. So I'm not looking at it like that, but I'm passionate, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I know that before, I think I was kind of like finding myself. I was after a lot of things. I was trying to be a striker in a grapplers, I don't know. I was trying to do a lot of different things, and I think I found myself. So I'm firmly standing on the 2 feet under me now, and I know that. And so it's given me a lot stronger like a lot stronger step, a lot confident walk into this everything I do, you know, my job and this job. And I'm confident, a lot more confidence is in this body now, you know. I've grown up.
That's tremendous. Yeah, you're fucking grown up. I say so. I
I'd like
definitely
to
say
say
so.
so.
You know, because I literally have like the TFL tonight and Jackass. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
waiting to watch Jackass again. So I don't know how much I've grown up. Too much. But there's that. You know.
Jackass. I guess I haven't paid attention because I don't have TV. But
Hey, there you
I
go.
would watch Jackass too. That was like one of my favorites when I was a kid. So
Oh yeah, Johnny Knoxville. Fucking, this is Jackass, and then he's
he's a
fucking
legend.
something.
He's a legend, you know?
Yes, damn right. Hell, who would have thought that we would get like John goes breaking down like the whole kind of complex situation with fucking Steve-O in a damn trailer. That's what happened. Like,
I mean, squish. There's my dog's going after a chihuahua. She's a fighter too. Yeah, no, I mean Steve-O's the sober one and like all like preaching love and stuff like that. It's just funny. And that's like actually just shows you right there that like life can take you anywhere. You know what I mean? Like just in that simple conversation, Steve-O was like the most wild man ever, and he probably still is, but in a different way.
No, 100%, 100%. John McGuire says, "You're as real as they fucking come, and I love you, homie."
Yeah, I love him too so much. I was paying attention to make sure that this dog didn't come right by my dog, just because I have this big, powerful dog. I don't want her to jolt away from me. Don has been a wonderful friend for a long time. He's noticed me in the career for like since I was an amateur, and he's given me a moment as a spotlight when I was searching for all that, and just he was been with me since the start. So hi, Don. I can't wait to talk to you next.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Fighter's Voice with Tom McGuire. And he said, "I will never have Steve-O back on my show again." Fuck it. If Steve-O wants to come on.
Yeah, let's bring Steve on. Never say never, and you'll have to tell me that story when we're on the thing. You'll have to tell me about Steve-O on that. We can have a whole another chat about that day. But that's cool that he's had him on. I mean, he's a legend, you know.
It's a fucking legend. Now, obviously, talking about like legendary shit, right? In terms of this, like this kind of like season of your career, what are you enjoying? Like you talk about the community, you talk about your training and learning more about yourself. But what are you enjoying the most about this time?
Okay, so I heard who do you enjoy the most, and then it cut out a couple times. Who do you enjoy the most about this training? Like, who do I enjoy the most in PFL? In PFL or in training?
The training camp.
Oh, who do I enjoy the most? Okay, so man, 10th Planet Bethlehem has been just legit. JM and Zach Mussolini. David Weintraub has been there, just like helping me with my diet and doing little physical fitnesses. And then Zach, I haven't mastered his last name yet. He's an MMA guy out of 10th Planet Bethlehem. Those guys have just been on it and giving me all kinds of like just smart advice. And then we talk fights, so we know how to talk breakdowns, and like he comes up with ideas and I apply them, and we take videos. So those guys have really been involved. And then one of my favorites, I live right next to Unity, the jiu-jitsu school, and I've been hitting pro classes there in the morning. So Murillo, he breaks down a little bit with me and we touch base, and he's another favorite. And then I'm at Studio 84. John Combs is really big in jiu-jitsu, and he's from Denver, but he's out here he's in that gym, Studio 84. So me and him do like little tiny, like, hey, this is going on. Hey, this is going on. Hey, this is where I'm getting hung up. He's like, let's turn the corner. And I have great minds like that. And then Jay Robuto, he's been in a lot of amazing corners for MMA and jiu-jitsu, heavy grappling, and he's a commentator for certain fight circuits. He's seen all things, and so he is heavy in my ear. So those are my favorites right now. I'm still really new out here. I still love my Colorado connections. it was really hard to like pack up and go home. I had to come up with a lot of decisions real quick. We took the fight with 9 weeks, and I was like, do I pack up and run home, take 2 weeks to get home, get associated with that camp, or 6 weeks left, or do I just get to work? And I just, in collaboration with some great minds, decided that let's just stay here and get to work. And so it's just been fun. I really like have never had fun in MMA camp, and this is like the first one I've had fun, because I'm happier, you know.
I love it. Now, keeping it light and keeping it happy, do you have like a favorite or funny memory in your kind of combat sports, career?
Oh God, favorite or funny memory? I have a lot of funny injuries. I mean, I have. Oh, I have a stable memory. You know, a lot of people have a lot of different. I'm not here to talk about like what you prefer for like your own life or whatever. But one of the things in question is, you know, you can't use cannabis in fight camp, and you know, like so. I myself use outside of camp, but not in fight camp or whatever. And it's something that's, it's, you know, you go through a few emotions when you decide to make those switches. And I made the switch or whatever, and I was kind of emotional. And a coach kind of had a story. I was kind of being a bitch that day, if I was telling you the truth, because I was cutting weight. And one of my favorite coaches was telling me a story. And he was like, Brittney, have you ever seen dogs play? And I was like, of fucking course I've seen dogs play galore. I was being a bitch back, you know, because fight camp brings out the best of you all the time. You know what I mean? And I was just being a bitch, and I was making excuses because I couldn't smoke weed and all this stuff. I didn't listen to his lesson that day. But then I talked to a promoter. This wasn't for a main TV stream, and they told me that they weren't testing. So I smoked a little bit, and it was like 3 weeks away. I probably shouldn't have done that. Don't tell my coach. It was years and years ago. But I smoked a little bit, and I watched 2 dogs in the backyard, and they were playing all over the backyard, and they were on their bellies and on their backs, and like everywhere they went, if they turned to their back, they were playing. If they were on their clench, they were playing. And I started crying, and I called my coach, and I was like, I get what you meant. Dogs fight from everywhere, and they just keep playing. And anyway, those silly stories, like, it's funny how it might not matter to anybody else, but like that one is one that really stuck with me. Is just, you're so emotional in camp, and so much pressure is going on that these things are like the end of the world that day, you know. But then they all come to fruition later, and they all make sense later. And so yeah, that's one of my staple memories, of favorite memories. Stupid. You might not like that, but it's true.
No, I love it. I love it. And it's funny because like most people like judgmental, Dare was a thing, prompted by like Ronald Reagan about like, kids on drugs and all that shit. Well, guess what? The people that were, on those commercials, they didn't have a speedy sponsorship or doing that. So that's it.
Well, I just like, I'm a realist person, like, I'm not going to lie to anybody anymore. There's things I use. If you're a professional, you have to make choices to continue profession. CDL driver can't drink on the job. I sign a contract that I'm going to be my best, and I want the best performance. Sometimes I believe truly that does bring out a best performance, but I'm looking at it at a health standard. And I never want something taken away from me that I've worked really hard for just because of some technical error. So if they test and they say, no, that's like invalid, it's worth it to me to take the time off from it. But it's just, it's a topic that I'm open to talk about. I think it's a healing power, but that's another day story, and those are just my beliefs for the way I handle my fights,
Yeah, no, and hopefully that they, the rest of the commission, kind of get with like, things like kava and cannabis and kratom, because they all have healing effect. It was just like this weird negative stigma that it had for years and years, decades, that it's bad, but it actually holds healing properties.
It's so funny that like that mentality can be changed. My mother is like straight edge as they come. She's little, like I said, a little Norwegian lady with a big accent. And she, she's even opened her mind, and she's like, oh, Britt, from what I've been reading, there's a lot of health benefits in that, And like, she's just a funny little old lady. But I mean, I hope one day that there's a little bit more of an open mind to that, because there's a lot of not just athletes, but a lot of people that suffer and could find an easier, direction. And I know it's always like, some people call it a crutch, some people call it whatever the fuck they want, you know what I mean? But when things help people and they don't harm others, I don't see a problem with it, so that's just my take on it. And fuck anybody else that thinks no. I'm just kidding.
That's it. Damn, 100%. Now,
Yeah.
Missy actually asked, tell him about your eyeball.
So I did fight a boxer in the past, and actually I did really well. You can watch a fight. It was on Seth Daniels' card. I fought Latoya Walker. We're great friends too. I mean, what a champion there. She's I think she lives in Texas. But so I fought a boxer. What a terrible day. If you Google it, you'll see my eyeball sealed shut, and the refs didn't see it in the fight. But I think in the second round, her thumb went all the way in my eyeball and back out, and it sealed my eyeball shut. I tell a story about it because the my dog's using the restroom. So the eyeball went all the way in my eye and back out, and it's funny because I didn't hear the noise in my I gotta clean that up in a minute. I don't yuck. Don't worry, guys, I'll clean that up. No, so I didn't hear the noise in my ears, but I heard it in the back of my brain, her thumb go in my eye and back out. And it was like, and it made this noise, like a pocket of noise in my eye. And I also felt a couple crunches. So I thought my nose had broken because I've broken my nose before. And I couldn't see, and I couldn't see anything. The round ended shortly after, and my vision was like triple blurred. But yeah, if you Google me, Brittney Elkin, there's a black and white famous photo, and it is this. My memory serves it as the thumb went all the way in my eye and back out, and just the noise is actually one of my PTS memories. It's like it's framed in my head. I heard it right about here, and it was like, and I fought to the end of the fight blind, like I couldn't see. And then me and Latoya became great friends after. I usually end up becoming friends with all of my opponents. There's only one or two that I just think are like not worth it, but that's like life, you know what I mean? But
can't win them all.
Yeah.
And then Doug Garner says, what's the little Asian gentleman we always used to pick on Britt? He was
Q. Yeah, we picked on Q a lot on the crew. We still do. I mean, Q is a target. We call him everything, he's Q a lot of things. Fuck you, he's an idiot. Just kidding. He's one of my very great friends. He's been on tour for a long time. He makes fun of it with me. We troll each other. And the tour that I was on and I mean, I did take a break from tour. I need to really be I want my head 100% in this game. I don't want to go to a city 3 days a week and then come back and refine where my face is. I want to be talking about Clarissa till we're talking about how I beat Clarissa. And that's kind of how I'm going into this. So I left tour, but yeah, trust me, Q's still getting his damage points every weekend. They call him Mr. Q, and he's still getting made fun of. Sorry, Q.
Hopefully
it's out of love. It's out of love, though.
So obviously, Brittney, there's been a lot of people, both personally and professionally, that have contributed to your rise in the sport and in life. So take as long as you like. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Okay, so I definitely have to shout out to like my whole Denver fight community. I was in Denver for 10 years and I've only been here for 1 month, and those people shaped me literally from day one. I moved there to be a professional athlete, and I moved away retired one, and they gave me the best of that they could ever offer, and I love them so much. So everybody in Denver, know that I love you, except like 3 of you I really fucking hate, but everybody else I really love. And I wish you all the best in all your things. Seth Daniels has been my boss, introducing me to just countless amazing people in my community that have only helped me grow. Missy's was on tonight. She was a big part of my growth in this whole sport. There's a lot of people that have been with you since day one. Don McGuire was one of them. I have a friend named Corey Guy who's been a fan since before I was even fighting. But here I have some family, like my son has put up with countless,
countless things that have just like, you know, really honestly, I thank you, Bronson, because my son has really put up with just countless, Bronson, I can't make it. And I feel like less of a parent sometimes. So I really have to thank him for being so strong as a young man, and his dad for taking care of him while I do this. And then I have to thank my roommate, David. He's done all my diets, and my setting up this East Coast plan. I can't thank him enough. I don't have all the connections set forth, and he's given me, hey, MMA class, and then, hey, you're going to wrestling. Hey, we have this, and hey, I know really good guys that meet here. So David has really pulled together some strings to get me all set up. The community itself out here on the East Coast, Fight to Win, the Carlitos, they're the guys that are on my crew. We call ourselves the Carlitos. Those guys in spirit are in my heart. They kick ass, and they're also just some of my best friends. My little sister listens to me talk BS every day for 12, 15 years about Clarissa Shields or whoever the fuck I'm fighting. So Megan really owns that. And my mom almost dies every time I take one. And my dad and my older sister. I could thank people till tomorrow. So I have to say, just you guys, like, thank you for loving me, you know?
How could we not? How could we not?
Mercedes fucking put all my shit together. She's awesome. She's my shit. Her too. Thank you, Mercedes.
Yes, shout out to the amazing, always amazing Mercedes White, who's just tremendous, and who actually put this together. So
thank you for putting up with me when I got here. I thought I was gonna die. I was like, I hit a car or something. Oh, Jesus.
We talked about Steve-O, your career, eyeball switching, fingers.
Well, that's why I got this lazy eye. Can't you see it?
Hell, I think it's great. Again, this is why. I knew I was going to get gold, and thank you for giving me gold. I almost feel like a 49er, 50 gold through stories with Brittney. I can't thank you enough for doing this, and thank you guys for joining us here at Hollywood. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I mean, Brittney, you're subscribed to the podcast, aren't you?
Yes. Definitely check out According to Woods. I appreciate the airtime, and nice to meet you. When I ever cross your path, I'll shake your hand a little harder and try to be tough.
Absolutely. I'll go limp, and it's like it's fine. I'm a shit white belt in jiu-jitsu, so I mean your gable grip is probably way more than my actual grip. So I'm just saying.
Don't say probably, just say it is.
Yeah, 100%. And Alex Gutierrez says, good luck on your fight, champ.
Let's go.
Before we go, do you have a prediction?
Do I have what?
A prediction of how this goes.
Yeah, I do. I think it's either going to go really fast on either side. She could get the best of me, but I don't think that. I think I'm going to get the best of her. So I think it's either going to go really fast and or it's going to be a grueling 5-minute rounds. She's an athlete. She's an Olympic champion. I'm not underestimating her one fucking bit. I think she can be athletic. So I want to just keep collapsing all of her escapes, and I predict that I take her down for the whole first round. It's completely and incredibly grueling. I do some damage. She second guesses her thoughts. Her timing's off, and I finish her in the second. That's what I predict.
Ooh, I like it. Now, as you head to the PFL cage, you return to the PFL cage. For people to kind of follow what you're doing, where is the best place to do so?
Oh my gosh, I have so many outlets. My Instagram is kind of like actually the one that I handle 100% all myself. I do have a Facebook athlete page. My Facebook, I don't use Facebook a whole lot on my personal page. I do keep awareness on all my stuff athlete page. My Twitter is kind of secondary, so I'd say Instagram is the way to go. I'm an Insta ho. I mean, I'm not upside down doing yoga positions, but I will give you plenty of information, and I don't do a lot of quotes, but I'll tell you the time and dates that you need to be there. So My God. I don't know how much patience my dog has left, but that is probably your best bet. I share everything through Insta, and then everything is kind of secondary. Other than that, find me in the gym. I'm on the East Coast. I'm at 10th Planet Bethlehem Unity, and I'm also at Studio 84. So if you want to catch me in person, those are probably the places. So.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Can't wait to June 10th for you to step into the PFL cage. Again, thank you for doing this, and thank you guys for joining us. Subscribe to the podcast, follow Brittney, and guess what? If you don't believe us, and I don't know why you wouldn't, here's Zeta
Hey,
Day.
this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods YouTube.